Missed it, rebound Morgan, 3 seconds to go, long pass, Eulis gets it off, got it! A three, one step across the timeline, bang! A ring, Aaron Eulis, how about that? Jacobson, extra pass left corner, stepping into a three, Asijan got it! And there's a career high for Connor Asijan with 27 points tonight. Rebound by Morgan, put back up and good, and one! Boy, what a great sequence that was. Smith with the ball, down inside, shot blocked, out of bounds. Get that thing out of here. Gary swats it away. Murphy had no chance to make that one. Here's a poke away by Hoiberg. Puts it up, got it! Huskers have a 100-burger. 101-72 on the swipe by Sam, and the take for the lay-in.
Here's your host, Jessica Coody.
Well, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into a full 2 hours here on the Huskers Radio Network. Coming up hour number 2, we're going to talk some Husker football as Nebraska knows the bowl destination, headed to the Pinstripe Bowl in New York City. We're going to talk about that and some Husker football news with Damon Benning. Also going to talk lots of Husker volleyball as Nebraska back in the Sweet 16. We'll hear from Kelly Hunter and Kennedy Orr coming up in hour number 2. But hour number 1, we're going to talk some Husker hoops. Our Nebraska Men's basketball show, joined by assistant coach Ernie Ziegler. Thank you so much for being here with us.
You're welcome, Jessica.
Well, 402-413-2400 is that number if you want to text any questions in for Coach Ziegler here tonight on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. Well, Coach, a tough one, always coming off a loss like that one at Michigan State to open up Big Ten play. How did the team respond from that one? I know it had to be a disappointed locker room.
Well, very much so. Anytime you get your lunch taken from you in that manner, it's a hard pill to swallow. So, we are in a position where we have to respond. And it's going to be very interesting how we respond here over the next few days in preparing for our next Big Ten game versus Indiana.
You know, obviously it's a game of runs. And when Michigan State went on some runs in the first half, you guys were able to respond, and they ended up getting a couple buckets going into the half, but then coming out of the half, what was not working? What did Michigan State do well that allowed for them to pull away from it when you guys kind of had made it a game there going right before the half?
Well, I think their level of intensity to kind of throw that haymaker punch was at an extremely high level, and it's exactly what they did. And we had some mistakes there in the opening few minutes of the half as well that definitely helped them be able to knock us out. But, it was just a tough going for us because we played a high level of physicality and intensity from a club that's playing extremely well right now.
Yeah, the physicality part was something that Coach Hoiberg also mentioned post-game. How do you handle that? How does the team handle that when you play a physical team like that that's handing it to you physically?
Well, I think for us, we have to get better, and we have to use some of this time that we have in front of us over the next few weeks, because we only have a couple of games over a 3-week period, to work on getting better physically. Because, we've had 2 losses, and the common denominator in both is that we got out physical in a high-level game. And so those situations are going to continue to come as we progress through Big Ten play.
Who do you guys look to maybe set the tone in that when someone's going to come out and try to be physical? Who do you look to help the Huskers set the tone in that regard?
It's a great question, Jessica. Right now we're trying to define who that is, and it's going to be interesting to see who steps up over the next few weeks, because right now it hasn't been there. I couldn't name one guy right now that, has done that, because we failed in those 2 situations that have come about here early in the season.
Coach had also talked about, the preparation last week. It was a long week going into the matchup against Michigan State. You had all week to prepare, and he said guys didn't handle their business during preparations that week. Why is that? I mean, I know if you knew, probably wouldn't be a problem, but again, I guess, who do you turn to in practices to maybe try to, hey, we got to pick this up a little bit?
Well, I think the guys, the group of our elder statesmen on our team, we have like 5, 6 guys that are 5th or 6th years in college. And once somebody in that group has to emerge in being that person and understand, or group, or all of them collectively together have to emerge to start carrying the torch. I just think, sometimes it's almost like when you're raising kids. I know you don't have kids yet, right? But when you're raising kids and you tell them, oh, hey, I'm boiling water on the stove, don't touch the stove, and kid is still, don't want to listen. And we told these guys what we were doing and tried to prepare for it. But sometimes until you put your hand on that hot stove and get burnt, you don't really realize it. And I think that's definitely what happened to us at Michigan State.
What a great analogy. How frustrating that is as a coaching staff, though, when they're not practicing well and they have a couple of days of bad practices.
Yeah, it's, but again, one of my coaches, one of my mentors told me a long time ago, you're only as good as the last game you played.
Right.
And right now for our guys, we're not very good. And we got to respond like men and not whine like boys about the things we can't control and start to really focus on the things we can control, which is our level of physicality, our level of focus, and how hard and we play in our effort. And if we can do those things, the execution part of it will take care of itself.
Great stuff there. Contact 811 2 days before you dig to protect your underground utilities and yourself. It's free. It's easy. It's the law. Visiting with Ernie Ziegler here on our Nebraska men's basketball show. The schedule has been a little weird, I guess, being that you guys have had some spaced out days between when you play, and then you're going to have another play Friday against Indiana, and then you have another week before you head to Hawaii. How is that? And I guess what's the goal when you have those kind of stretched out times between games for a basketball team?
Well, I'm a true believer in karma, and I think this may be a blessing in disguise for us where we are right now, to have these extra days each week with only having one game in between, almost like, and I shouldn't compare it to football, but having one game a week and being able to take one day of that week where you're just focusing on yourself. And that's what we, have to take advantage of in this weird juncture in our schedule.
Coach has talked a lot about, just with so many bodies and the depth that you guys have, just that rotation and figuring out when to play guys with who and at what points of game and all that kind of stuff. And I'd asked him actually last week before the TV show, he felt like he was getting closer, but what's that process like when you guys as a coaching staff are trying to figure out the rotation of guys and who gels together the best?
Well, I think one of the things players a lot of times dictate how that plays out. And as you're seeing these games and as we're going through these practices, that rotations just about starts to define itself by, how guys are performing. And for us, I think that's starting to happen. And hopefully we can have some guys even still seize some opportunities to give us, because I think our whole has to help us be much better than our parts, and hope to identify that here as we progress forward.
Well, one of the guys I wanted to talk to you about is Bryce Williams. Obviously, you've got a close relationship with him. When you start having the conversations a year ago about him coming back, what were some of the areas of the game, because he does so many things so well, that you felt like, okay, this is where we can work on to even get you even better before you do go to that next level? Well,
I think, one of the things that we talked about is being a well-rounded player, being a two-way player, and embracing what that means on both sides of the ball. And, for Bryce, I think that's still a work in progress. But I think he's starting, particularly after this past weekend in East Lansing, he's starting to see that, hey, I have a whole lot more in my tank, and I got to be able to exhibit that and lead and help lead our team by example and verbally.
For someone that's played so much basketball, how is that? Is that a want to on the defensive end? Is it just kind of, how do you improve? How does a guy like Bryce Williams continue to improve on the defensive end and continue to get to be that two-way player? Well,
I guess it's a want. It's a a passion that you got to have. And, you know, the very best of the best, they understand that. And I think Bryce is definitely aspiring to do that. And, you know, he had times last year where he was one of the best on-ball defenders in the league at times. And then, you know, and sometimes it would waver. But for our team, he has to be that because, you know, we only have a few options if that is capable of doing that.
I think it's up to maybe 12 straight games he's been in double figures. I guess, what are you seeing out of him just on the offensive end? It seems like he's trying to be more aggressive this year. I know everybody's coming off a bad game at Michigan State, but up until that point, I mean, it seems like he is trying to be more aggressive on the offensive end, getting to the rim, looking for his shot.
No, he is. I think, you know, he's got to have to be at the top of the league right now in free throw attempts. I know he's at the top of the league in free throw percentage and free throws made. And so he's definitely finding a way to score in a variety of ways. And we need him to continue to do so while being aggressive and continue to make plays for his teammates. I think the game before Michigan State, he had 6 assists in the game. So part of his aggressiveness isn't just him scoring each time, it's him making other guys better and being aggressive. That puts the defense in a position where what are you going to do? You're going to pick your poison, and as long as he can identify those situations and make plays for his teammates as well as himself, I think it's going to bode well for us as we move forward.
Is that something you guys identify in a game? If, hey, time to get to the free throw line?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm very keen on, you know, when you get the other team in the bonus, it's about continuing to impose your will and put yourself in position where you continue to get free throws, because all of the programs and teams I've been a part of, when you can get to the foul line 25, 30 plus times a game and you can make more free throws than your opponent attempts, it's probably going to signal victory for your team.
Yeah, absolutely. Bryce is a big part of that, but the free throw percentage as a team overall has really continued to improve over the last couple of seasons. That's big for a team as well, when you're not just getting to the line and shooting more, but you're actually knocking them down when you get there.
No question, Jessica. And you know, Coach Hoiberg has done a really good job of putting our guys in situations in practice, as well as, you know, getting those reps in with free throws to take advantage of them, because at the end of the day, you know, the more efficient you are in that area, it's only going to help your offensive efficiency as well. And for us, you know, I think having that balance of being able to get to the foul line is definitely going to help our offense as we continue to move forward.
And for a guy like Bryce, I mean, that's something that we've talked about. He's been good at it his whole career. Why is he someone that is so good? I mean, it's almost automatic when he gets to the free throw line. Yeah,
you know, I think he may be in the high 80s career-wise. And he's just a kid that, you know, works on it and is just a really good shooter. And most guys who are really good shooters shoot a high percentage from the foul line as well as from the outside. Hey, about a few weeks ago, Bryce shaved his beard. It was a big topic of discussion. What did you think of the no beard look? Man, he looked like, I told him when I saw him, man, you look younger. you know, and obviously in this day and age and culture, you know, everyone wants to have a beard. The beard is the style, and everyone's all into, you know, keeping up with the Joneses. So it was good to see him. You know, I was talking to his mom and his uncle, and they were saying, you know, with his beard cut off, he looked just like his dad. Really? Yeah. I almost didn't recognize him. Oh man, he looked like a different guy. Yeah, no doubt. I was like, who's a new player that the Huskers got? That you know, he looks so different, because I don't think we've seen him without the beard. No, we have not. No, we've seen the elder-looking Bryce. His teammates had some fun with that one, giving him a hard time. But I think he's growing it back again, right? Oh yeah, he is. He's getting back at it. So. All right, well, we got to step aside for a break here on our Nebraska Men's Basketball Show. The Nebraska Men's Basketball Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, where people don't have your money has people. More with the assistant coach, Ernie Ziegler, coming up after this.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, There's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Tom Osborne, former football coach and co-founder of the Teammates Mentoring Program.
And I'm Des Moines Adams, Husker black shirt and CEO of Teammates Mentoring.
We're recruiting teammates mentors and need caring adults to be in the lives of our students.
Meeting with a student once a week at the school can make a positive impact in their life and have a ripple effect in our communities.
Please join our team.
Go to teammates.org today.
Sam, since this is your first Get Holiday Ready sales event, let me introduce you to the full lineup of Ford SUVs. Keep it festive, Morgan.
How fun!
That's Blake and Bailey. They're our Bronco experts.
Goat modes goes over any type of terrain.
And of course, Ford F-Series. Best-selling trucks for 47 years. The Get Holiday Ready sales event.
Chills.
Get 1.9 for 60 plus 1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for up to 90 days on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Chris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Neese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%, all while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
This postseason, the Nebraska Cornhuskers are ready to make a run for the championship, and Woodhouse is right there with them. Follow along as the Huskers take on the best in the NCAA volleyball tournament. Hear every thrilling moment, every powerful serve, and every block for the title. Woodhouse, proud sponsor of Nebraska Volleyball, bringing you all the action as the Huskers fight for glory. Stay tuned and cheer on the Huskers each broadcast, presented by Woodhouse.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to our Nebraska men's basketball show. I'm Jessica Coody, joined by assistant coach Ernie Ziegler here for the next few more segments here leading up to the 7 o'clock hour. So 402-413-2400 is that number if you want to text in for Coach Ziegler. Well, third season for you and Coach Howard. What does that do for a staff, for a program, when you have guys that have been together now going on multiple seasons and you have that continuity in a staff?
Well, I think it helps immensely, because when you have continuity, you kind of know, you got a familiarity with each other. You kind of know guys' quirks or what have you, and it puts you in a position to just help the players get better. You know, you're not worrying about, hey, I'm trying to figure out, you know, where I fit on this staff or what have you, or what the idiosyncrasies are of the process of helping the guys. So I think it's bode really well for us, because, you know, everyone knows their role, everyone knows how they can impact winning and impact the success of our young men.
Absolutely. Coach Weber has really bragged on you guys, and this group and the last two groups have really been gym rats and like to spend a lot of time in the gym, and says that you guys obviously are never hesitate to jump in the gym with whatever guy wants to come in there. How does that work when a guy wants to come in? Do they just hit up whoever's there, or do you have certain guys that you work with when they want to get up shots and really maybe hone in on some things?
Well, we all have certain guys that you work with, and on top of working with the coaches, the guys can always hit our GAs and as well, and managers when they want to come even later or what have you. But we're all like, you know, other than back in the day having a pager and being on call, you know, what have you, like doctors. But, you know, we're just accessible, and that's the big thing about just being accessible to help guys. And sometimes it may not even be working on things. It may just be coming back to look at film. It may be just coming back and talking to them about what's going on in their life, you know, and getting off campus to do some of that stuff. Because, you know, the one thing about it, these guys are human, they're young men, and they have lives, and there's other things that go on for them personally that sometimes affect their ability to focus on the task at hand, which is, you know, Nebraska men's basketball.
How much do you enjoy that part of it, though, when it is just kind of like a one-on-one shooting session or whatever it might be?
Oh, I think those are the best times, because I think when you can connect with someone and they know you, there's a level of trust or what have you, you know, that's how you grow, and that's how you gain confidence as well.
In your entire career, who was the guy that spent the most time in the gym that you're like, okay, you got to get out of here?
Oh, wow. Man, I've been around some dudes. Aaron Aflalo at UCLA.
Yeah?
Yeah, Aaron Aflalo. He ended up being a 10-year pro, but he was just relentless, always in there. Yeah.
When those kinds of guys, and I think you guys got a few, Coach Hoiberg said there's a few that you could guarantee almost somebody would be in there right now. What are they coming in? Are there certain things that, okay, I want to just put up shots, like just on the three-point line? Is there certain areas, or how do they go about some of the things that they're really focusing on when they're up there just shooting on their own?
Well, you know, because we're so three-point centric, you know, these guys are coming back to shoot threes, particularly the guys that are shooting threes and are taking those shots in the games. But at the same time, you know, like guys like Andrew Morgan and Braxton Mia, when I bring them back, we're focusing on where they're getting their shots in the games, you know, and how to be more physical and those things. So, you know, and that's definitely a work in progress as well. But I think it's all about what is your individual skill set, and how does it, you coming back working, how does that translate towards helping us offensively?
Andrew Morgan had some good stretches against Michigan State. How is he settling into kind of his role and what he needs to be for Nebraska basketball?
I think he's just starting to scratch the surface. You know, we had he came back last week prior to the Michigan State game, and we got some work in, and it's just getting him to be quick but not in a hurry, because he has the ability to create angles and score down there, but sometimes he gets hurried. And, that was a Woodenism that John Wooden used to use all the time that I learned when I was out there, is that, you want guys to be quick and not in a hurry. And it's a thin line between the two. How do you teach that? How do you show that? Well, it's just having, some poise in that, like when we talk about you feed the post, you catch it, and you locate middle, and that slows you down 1/1000. We just say, see if the double team is coming versus just catching it, and then all of a sudden you move your feet and you slide your pivot too quickly, and now it's a travel. And just being able to play at a pace where you see it now, I see there's no double team. I see that my teammates have some type of screening action or split action, or maybe they cut baseline or whatever they do, and now, okay, I see I'm one-on-one in the post, and I'm going to go to work. How about Braxton Mia, too, and the element of having the 7-footer inside? What has he been able to provide Nebraska this season? With Braxton, I think, we haven't even seen, what he's capable of down there yet. I think he's, obviously he's shown us his ability to catch lobs and finish with dunks. But, I think for him, as we have began Big Ten play, he's going to continue to see guys just as big as him, if not bigger. Mm-hmm. And he's got to be able to show a touch to being able to get to his jump hook, left hand or right hand. And I think, that is coming for him. It was funny when we talked to him this summer. I think it was after his freshman year, he's one of the nation's leaders in field goal percentage, and he was like, well, I better make the dunks. He's like, when I get those open inside, I better be finishing inside. Yeah, no question. Because the and then the other thing for him is knowing that when you miss a shot, it's not the end of the world. Just because your shots are as close to the basket as they are closer to the basket than most of your teammates. But you're human. You're not going to be perfect. So for him, if you can go 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, all of a sudden you're in like he was his freshman year, you're shooting at one of the higher percentages in the country. And but not get down and drop your head when you do miss something that's really close to the rim. How has he come along in just the pick and roll element that Coach Hoiberg likes to use, and just other than just being the rim protector inside or the big body inside, how has he continued to progress in that regard? Well, I think he's getting much more comfortable playing in the pocket for us off of ball screen actions and moving the ball and finding guys weak side or what have you. So I think his game is definitely elevating with his ability to make plays for others in the pocket for us. Another guy I wanted to ask you about tonight is Cale Jacobson. A couple games ago, he had a really, really nice game for you guys, and he just seems to be someone that everybody on the staff brags about constantly, about the kind of practice player he is and what he provides in the gym. Just what have you guys seen out of him that's allowed for him to maybe get some more minutes here recently? Well, I tell you this, I really enjoy coaching Cale and being around him. I joke with him now because I tell him, I say, hey, CJ, because his initials are Cale Jacobson. And, so he's CJ now in his own right in terms of he brings a stability, understanding of our system and what Coach Hoiberg wants. He's got a toughness about him. And a very high basketball IQ. So, he's doing the things that sometimes don't even show up in the box score that helps impact winning. And, hopefully he can continue to matriculate in that manner. What does it say about a guy that can guard multiple positions and play multiple positions on the offensive end, too, that can be so versatile? Well, I think those are the type of players you want. The more versatile two-way guys you have, the more, from a scheme standpoint, you can do different things defensively and offensively. And Cale definitely has that trait. It was funny because it was a couple years ago when Sam Hoiberg said that when I was talking to Derek Walker and Sam ended up, taking on a bigger role, and he said that Derek said that he had to tell Sam sometimes, hey, slow down, sometimes in practice, that he just practiced so hard. Who would be the guy that you'd least like to go up against in practice on this group? I would say up to this point that's on our practice squad, I would say Braden Frager is, he has a relentlessness about attacking the offensive glass, plays with a motor offensively. I guess he would be that guy on our current roster.
We actually had a question about those freshmen last week, just how they're progressing. Got to imagine being in that role in the scout team and facing up against those guys really pushes them. How much have you seen them continue to grow and settle into what needs to be done on this level?
Yeah, I think it's a work in progress, but I think they definitely, all of them. We have 3 freshmen that are redshirting. We mentioned Frager and Justin Bolas and Nick Janowski, and I think all 3 of them, one thing about them that's constant is that they come and they work, and they're in there and they're really being sponges about understanding what's being asked of them, and I think they're progressing very smoothly.
All right, let's get to another break here on our Nebraska men's basketball show. Dorothy Lynch, home style and light and lean dressing. Endless flavorabilities. We got more with Coach Ziegler coming up after this. And again, 402-413-2400 is that number if you want to shoot us a text on our Sports Nightly hotline. Back with more coming up after this.
This postseason, the Nebraska Cornhuskers are ready to make a run for the championship, and Woodhouse is right there with them. Follow along as the Huskers take on the best in the NCAA volleyball tournament. Hear every thrilling moment, every powerful serve, and every block for the title. Woodhouse, proud sponsor of Nebraska Volleyball, bringing you all the action as the Huskers fight for glory. Stay tuned and cheer on the Huskers each broadcast, presented by Woodhouse.
Husker fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Sam, since this is your first Get Holiday Ready sales event, let me introduce you to the full lineup of Ford SUVs. Keep it festive, Morgan.
How fun!
That's Blake and Bailey. They're our Bronco experts.
Goat modes goes over any type of terrain.
And of course, Ford F-Series. Best-selling trucks for 47 years. The Get Holiday Ready sales event.
Chills.
Get 19 for 60 plus 1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for up to 90 days on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
Looking for the ultimate sports watching experience? Head to Smash Park in La Vista, home of Husker Hangouts, Omaha's official watch parties. Your go-to spot for epic game day deals, delicious bites, and unbeatable fun. Catch every moment on massive screens. Challenge friends to pickleball, axe throwing, and other games. Smash Park is where the action happens, whether you're cheering on the Huskers or just enjoying the atmosphere. Smash Park. Visit us today and turn your game day into a game night. Smash Park. Play, drink, eat.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Chris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Husker Extra is the best website and mobile app for everything Husker sports from the experts at the Omaha World Herald and Lincoln Journal-Star. Go to huskerextra.com or search your app store today. Welcome back to the Nebraska Men's Basketball Show. Got a couple of segments left here with assistant coach Ernie Ziegler. Well, Coach, we have not had a chance to chat about, we had signing day last week for Husker football, but you guys signed Quentin Rhymes about a month ago. So on signing day back in November. So tell us about Quentin and what he's going to bring to the Huskers.
Well, hey, we're really excited about Quentin because he gives us an infusion of talent. He's a very skilled, athletic basketball player. He's a multi-positional guy. He can handle the ball. He can pass the ball. He shoots it with range. He can defend, which is a desperate need for us as we are losing all of our most athletic players on our team that are in the senior class right now for us. So he's different from all of the guys that are returning, and he has a high ceiling moving forward.
6'7", 195, and plays for Hillcrest Prep, which is that's a solid high school.
Yes, yeah, they're one of the top prep schools in the country, and I'm gonna get a chance to go see them compete here, and it's a big tournament in Vegas coming up this upcoming weekend, and he's playing at a high level. I mean, he's a guy that just can impact winning in a lot of ways because he can. Obviously, he can score, but he's a willing passer. He's a willing, in our system, we're always about slashing and cutting. He's a willing cutter. He's a guy that has ability, a lot like Bryce to even initiate offense for you if need be. So he's going to have a great opportunity to come in and hopefully enhance the talent level on our team and play in the Big Ten Conference.
When you're going for high school guys like that, how do you identify, okay, it's working at this level, but will it work at this level? You just listed off a lot of characteristics that you guys like in the guys. How do you identify if that's going to, if you're seeing that, I guess, and that it will translate?
Well, just, the one thing about it as a coach and when you're working for a guy like Coach Hoiberg, it's about understanding what he likes. And a lot of times for a lot of coaches, they get caught up into what they like, and it's about what your head coach likes and what is going to be transferable in his program and in his system. And for us, offensively and defensively, and Quentin for me, and seeing that and watching him over when I first saw him last spring, and then his AAU coach was he joked with me because I didn't recruit him for my AAU team. His AAU coach is from Detroit, and he runs a program called the Las Vegas Knicks and what have you. And a couple of his friends actually did play for me. And just talking to him about Quentin has a toughness. He has a hunger, because he was somewhat under the radar going into the spring. And, that's what you want. You want guys that are hungry, that have something to prove, and have a toughness about them. And I think that kid has an extremely bright future in Husker Red.
You've got some connections, and a lot of times they seem to point back to Detroit.
Well, everyone, for me, that's where I was born and raised and have a big-time connection. But as I've progressed through my career, now nationally, it's just a lot of relationships. And that's what recruiting is it's relationships. And when people know you're genuine and know you can connect with them, they're going to want to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. As the transfer portal's become a big part of college athletics, and so when you guys start evaluating a roster, which I know happens quite, especially with high school recruiting, you're looking at how many spots you have and who you got to fill and all of that. But what does that look like for this group and for what the needs are for this group, identifying what's in the transfer portal and what guys you want to get from the high school level?
Well, it's going to be interesting because, we have 6 seniors. Obviously Rink is rehabbing, and we're definitely counting on him to have a full recovery. And, we probably have another 5 or 6 guys that have eligibility to returning. So it's just about sitting here and saying, okay, hey, how do we infuse a talent level to fill the gaps and complement who we have returning? And, that's some things that we have to have conversations about, and Coach Hoiberg leading those conversations, obviously. But, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes because we definitely have to identify. And when you look at our league and you look at, the across the board, particularly with the 4 West Coast teams coming in as well, the talent level and how teams are playing in our league is changing. Mm-hmm. And, and it's about being able to have a similar, if not better, talent level and aspiring to identify who you can get through the portal. So, and that's definitely about to rev up here.
How is Rink? How is Rink progressing?
I think he's doing great. From what, the reports, we actually had a state of the program meeting last week, and our athletic training staff says he's really progressing. He had a follow-up appointment about a month or so ago, actually the day we opened up in November, and they've given him a green light to start doing some other stuff. But he's still not doing any contact stuff because, it's just about really strengthening his knee and the ligaments around it and putting him in position to hopefully be back at even better than he was before.
Seems like he's still been a pretty good leader even on the sideline for you guys.
No, he has been. He's been very good at putting his arm around Braxton and Andrew and BK and giving them tutelage, because he's a very high IQ guy as well. And he knows, just like all of those guys, it's their first year in the Big Ten. He went through some ups and downs from a physicality standpoint at times last year. So, he's definitely being a good bridge for those guys as they continue to get ready for the rest of the Big Ten play.
I wanted to circle back to something you had just said about, just the teams that are coming in, and, you certainly have different programs that play different styles, and you have the big physical defensive type teams that want to slow it down, and then you have the high flying. How does the program go about preparing and matching up with so many different styles of basketball across the country?
Well, I think you have to have a versatility in identifying some tougher guys that can play a high-flying, more free, finesse-type style, what have you, but still having some toughness about them. And you know, I kind of alluded or compare it to boxing. You know, people talk about boxing, you know, different styles make matches or what have you. And sometimes some styles is another opponent's kryptonite.
Right.
You know, and being able to put yourself in position to be able to compete at a high level, irregardless of, you know, what that style is that evening or afternoon.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's kind of why sometimes you see those crazy upsets in the NCAA tournament. Just teams don't match up well with certain styles of basketball.
No question. No question about it. I mean, you know, just even most recently here in our conference, you know, Purdue had a great run last year and got to the national championship. But the 2 years prior, they lost to a team from the Northeast Conference. I think it was Fairleigh Dickinson. And then,
who you guys just played.
And and St. Peter's.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, when you get those small teams that are very quick, you get these guards that are jet quick and can really get downhill and penetrate, and you got to be able to stay in front of them. You got to be able to have multiple guys that can be able to do that.
All right, we got to step aside for our final break here of our Nebraska Men's Basketball Hour. Got one final segment coming up here with Coach Ziegler. Keep it here on our Nebraska Men's Basketball Show.
From family road trips in a spacious SUV to heavy-duty hauling in a powerful truck, Woodhouse has the vehicle to fit your lifestyle. Purchasing a vehicle has never been easier thanks to our streamlined buying process. Browse a huge selection of new or pre-owned vehicles from top brands. View transparent pricing so you can find the vehicle that fits in your budget. And complete your purchase online. Shop when you want, where you want. It's the Woodhouse difference. Get started today at woodhouse.com.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Triple B Feed has the products to help your cows thrive. Whether it's weekly delivery of consumption-controlled Lumix liquid mineral with protein or Sweet Pro block supplements for space feeding, while also stretching your forages up to 25% better, Triple B has you covered. Let Brian and Brad Blauhorn take some of the stress out of your beef production this year. For more information and other products, visit triplebfeed.com. Triple B Feed, helping you and your cattle.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Sunday morning. You can smell it. Game day. And the brisket you've been smoking since last night. A day to be with family, a.k.a. fellow football fans. Traditions make Sundays easy to enjoy. Beers do too. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Final segment here with Coach Ernie Ziegler here of our Nebraska Men's Basketball Show. And Crypto King in the chat said, Ernie's a cool dude from Detroit.
I appreciate that.
Well, I got another Big Ten game, this couple of Big Ten games kind of here in December. Let's first of all talk about this week. What's the focus for the team this week before taking on Indiana on Friday?
We have to become more physical. Some way, somehow. Indiana is another, they have a very physical front court. The Omar Ballo kid, 7-footer, and Malik Renault, and they want to pound you inside. And create opportunities for themselves, and they're going to crash the glass. And they have some good guards as well, some transfer guards. Miles Rice, kid from Stanford, who's jet quick, gets downhill, and then they have some experience with Galloway, who's a combo guard for them, and he's really heady and makes big plays for them. I was just looking at their score right now. They're up 14 right now, about 13 minutes to go against Minnesota. So, we got to get our first home win, and I think about it. Last year at this time, literally 365 days ago, this week, we were coming off a very disappointing loss to Minnesota, where we gave up like 22 offensive rebounds and was so unphysical and got out toughed. Only difference is that the scoring margin wasn't, as wide as the Michigan State loss. And we had to come home and prepare for Michigan State, which was another physical team coming in. And we responded and came together. And, we got to have that same focus here the next few days to get the same result that we had a year ago and go into and finish this early part 1-1 in conference play.
How do you address that physicality in practice? Is it drills? Is it just, how do you get more physical throughout a course of a week?
It has to be drills. It has to be drills where guys are going body to body and putting them in situations that are uncomfortable. And, and there's a element of, of you're worrying about guys getting hurt, but they have to be able to go mano-a-mano and be in drills. And a lot of times as coaches, we get caught up in the, wanting to use pads and these things to try to minimize the possibility of injury. But, you can't get tougher if you're not hitting.
Yeah.
And for us, that's what we have to do, in my opinion, at least once a week and build upon that and hopefully start to make some strides in that manner.
So beyond being more physical, what are going to be the keys against Indiana?
Taking care of the ball, limiting their opportunities in transition, because they do a good job, particularly trying to get it down to those guys early. Our post defense, our ability to, execute our strategies once the ball goes into the post as well. But I think if we can do those things and hold them under 40% defensive field goal percentage, 40 below, and at least be even, if not out rebound them, and have 10 or 12 or less turnovers, it's going to equate to a Husker victory.
Great stuff. Final minute. Justin in the chat wants to know if you're a Detroit Lions fan.
Man, that's a great question. And I get a lot of crap from my friends at home. I'm a Steelers fan first, Lions fan second.
Okay. All right. How did you end up a Steelers fan being from Detroit?
Well, growing up, when I was younger, the Steelers, when I was growing up in the late 70s and early 80s, the Steelers were winning Super Bowls. And I just, Terry Bradshaw and Mean Joe Green and Jack Ham and Jack Lambert, I can just, go on and on. And I just fell in love with the Steelers and that black and yellow.
Awesome. Great stuff. Thank you so much for being here with us, and best of luck on Friday.
Thanks, Jessica.
Who also is a big Steelers fan is Damon Benning. He's going to join us here in hour number 2 to talk Husker football. We also got a lot of Husker volleyball talk as Nebraska volleyball heads to another Sweet 16. So keep it here. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly just ahead, right after this.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Sam, since this is your first Get Holiday Ready sales event, let me introduce you to the full lineup of Ford SUVs. Keep it festive, Morgan.
How fun.
That's Blake and Bailey. They're our Bronco experts.
Goat modes. Goes over any type of terrain.
And of course, Ford F-Series. Best-selling trucks for 47 years. Get Holiday Ready sales event.
Chills.
Get 1.9 for 60 plus 1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for up to 90 days on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, There's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the Game Day Special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraskachiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Good evening, I'm Russ Brown, and tonight's Sports Ticker is brought to you by the Department of Health and Human Services. It was a big weekend for Husker Athletics. The football team learned its bowl destination. The Big Red is headed to the Pinstripe Bowl to face Boston College of the ACC. The game is scheduled for December 28th with an 11 o'clock kick. Coverage on the HRN will begin at 7 a.m. Husker Volleyball punched a ticket to the round of 16. Nebraska will face Dayton in the next round. That match is Friday night and will begin 30 minutes at the conclusion of the first game, which will be at 6 Central. Women's basketball opened up Big Ten play with an 84-65 win over Minnesota. Alberti Rimdahl led the Huskers with 12 points. She also added 6 assists to her stat line, a career high. Next up for the Big Red, Tarleton visits PBA on Wednesday. Tip is set for 7 o'clock with pregame coverage on the HRN starting at 6:30. One game in action in the NBA. They are late in the first quarter. The Raptors lead the Knicks 25-24. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Now, Hour 2 of Sports Nightly.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Raiola under center. Turns, hands off Dowdell, plunges into the end zone, touchdown, Nebraska! What a drive for the Big Red. An exclamation point on what has been a wonderful first half here in Iowa City. 9-0, Big Red.
Outside set, Hurricanes, Cologne roll shot. Nice up by Harper. Now Nebraska center dump. Bergen Riley. She does it. Nebraska wins. Call the grandkids. The Huskers go to their 40th Sweet 16 in the last 43 seasons. Remarkable. And they'll shake hands in Lincoln. Bring on the Dayton Flyers. We're going to be right here at the Devaney next weekend for a trip to the Final Four.
Here's a poke away by Hoiberg. Puts it up, got it! Huskers have a 100-burger. 101-72 on the swipe by Sam, and the take for the lay-in.
Oh, Moriarty saved it in bounds. Got it to Coley. To Widener. Angles in. Out to Rimdahl for 3 on the right wing. You betcha. Huskers made something out of nothing.
Now, here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly. Again, appreciate Ernie Ziegler spending hour number 1 with us talking a little Nebraska men's hoops. But now we're going to talk a little football because we found out yesterday on Sunday the bowl matchup where the Huskers are headed, and it will indeed be New York City, the Pinstripe Bowl, and facing Boston College. To talk a little bit more about that and some other news surrounding Husker football, our good friend Damon Venning. DB, thanks for being here with us on this Monday evening.
I appreciate it. It's a good first hour out of the way.
It's quite the follow-up, following up Coach Ziegler. You've got kind of a big shoe to fill, or a big spot to fill following him up.
Yeah, I don't know if I could play in any sort of important role against Indiana on Friday, but I'll do my best.
Well, I guess we didn't spend enough time together last week that I felt like we needed to have you on again here this Monday night.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like you got to be sick of me by now, but it is what it is at this point.
That was a long effort, a lot of effort going into signing day, but it was fun. Fun show and a great group. I think the Huskers got some really good players that potentially could help them out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited. I thought it was a good class. He was efficient. It wasn't a huge class, but I did think that he did a pretty good job of addressing some needs. And now we just got to fill out the rest of the staff and let this thing play out for another run before the bowl game.
So I guess before we move on past signing day, we all know about your guy, Christian Jones. He just won the High School Butkus Award. How about that? He's also a big get for the Huskers. I talked about him last week as probably being up at my top of my list as my excited list was getting him because of how much he was wanted by some of the top defensive coaches in the country.
Yeah, he's a really good player. Ton of upside. And like I said, the weird thing about CJ is for as hard as he goes and as much as he loves playing, he never misses practice. And, he batted 1,000 in his high school career with me, so he's durable. And he just loves playing. It's a heck of an honor. And anytime you put up those kind of statistics over the course of a 4-year career, the recognition is definitely deserved.
Well, we haven't had a chance to chat with you since all the news unfolded. I mean, we were sitting there on signing day not really knowing for sure what was going to happen with Terrence Knighton, and then the news comes out at the end of last week. Tony White, Terrence Knighton, both headed to Florida State. What was your initial reaction to losing both of those guys?
I mean, I was a little disappointed, obviously. Two guys that I obviously think a lot of. And listen, opportunity is opportunity. I think for Coach White, having a chance to get back to Florida was really, really important to him. And Coach Knighton's got family there as well. And I think he's looking for a little bit of growth and upside. And so, listen, it's a short window in terms of getting while the getting's good. And I think for some guys it's financial, for some guys it's geographical, for some guys it's just about opportunity, and for some it's about family. So I try to just take it as it comes. I don't read too much into it. And listen, it's pretty transactional now, JC. A lot of guys come and go, and Portal's a prime example of that, and so is movement of coaches. So I try not to get too attached, as hard as it may be.
I think you and I both are of the camp of, and just going back to my time at Oklahoma, seeing Coach Roll, his teams are going to play good defense, and he's had multiple defensive coordinators, multiple defensive coaches. He's going to get the right guys in here to make sure that the Huskers are going to play solid defense.
Yeah, I agree. And he's uniquely connected to defense. I think that relationship of Coach Rule and his defensive coordinator are extremely important to him. And so I agree with you. I have complete faith that on that side of the ball that he'll get this hire right, because historically that trend is on his side. And so in Coach Rule, I definitely trust.
Okay, well, how about some great news, some fantastic news coming out yesterday on Sunday, in addition to the bowl announcement, was that Emmett Johnson decided to come back. He had put his name into the portal, and he said this place is home to him, and he wants to keep wearing that in. How big was that when you talk about, again, what you're looking for in building this roster and shrinking the roster size, but to get a guy like Emmett Johnson back?
Well, selfishly, he's one of your faves too,
yes.
But selfishly, I mean, that's my guy. And so just having a chance to talk to him and just see where he was at and what's important to him. He's such an embodiment to Nebraska and kind of what it's about, Jessica, where, he's extremely unselfish. He's low maintenance. He's earned his stripes. He's paid his dues. He's battle tested, and he's just not starting to be appreciated and valued. And I think that he wavered in that a little bit. And that just he needed to be reassured of that. And that's okay, given what he's been through and how long and kind of an arduous deal that this has been for him. So I don't have any problems with him, seeing what was out there. And then the job that Nebraska did and reaching back out to him and making sure that they were on the same page for the vision that they have for him and his role for this season. It wasn't near as much about economics, in my opinion, as much as it was about relationships. And sometimes there's this tendency where you kind of neglect the constant and you worry so much about the variables. And he's so low maintenance, I think he's easy to sometimes take for granted. And I think it was important for Nebraska and for EJ to have that level of connectedness again, and it didn't take him very long to change his mind.
Well, Dana Holgorsen had told us on that signing day show that he had started recruiting some of the players that were already in-house, that he wanted to stay and be a part of this offense. And I think Emmett's just he's a great fit for what Dana Holgorsen likes to do. I think we saw that over the last 3 games since Dana Holgorsen got here in Lincoln, was just how much he can utilize Emmett Johnson.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think with Coach Holgorsen, he really found his rhythm, too, in terms of kind of that thunder and lightning combination and how they could be used interchangeably with Dowdell and kind of getting in a rhythm. And you heard Coach Holgorsen say, he'd rather hand the ball off and score touchdowns because a lot fewer bad things can happen. And so EJ plays a prominent role in that. I think he trusts him. He's got a lot of tread left on those tires. He's still relatively fresh. I completely agree with you that under Coach Holgerson's tutelage and EJ's work ethic, they got a chance to really blossom together.
Well, it's been obviously a huge topic of discussion. Coach Rule's been warning us for a while now that, hey, there's going to be guys that you know really well, that their names are going to be in the portal. We've seen that. But it's not just here. I mean, it's across the country because rosters have got to they've got to go down. They've got to meet a certain number. So we're seeing that. But now, and that was another thing Coach Holgerson told us, is talking about getting guys out of the transfer portal. There's no doubt that's going to be an emphasis for this staff. What would you say are the top of the list of needs for Nebraska football as they start kind of diving into this portal and some of the guys that maybe they could get out of the portal to come to Nebraska?
Well, I think you got to start with defensive line.
Yeah.
You're going to have to replenish there. Especially with the news of Keona Davis, who's a guy that I think they liked his upside. So you got to bolster that defensive line again. You probably got to get a tackle or two. You for sure have to get one. You may have to get two in terms of a veteran kind of offensive tackle. And then maybe an older, experienced wide receiver. I like the wide receiver room. I think it's got a ton of talent. And so I'm not as worried about that group, but maybe a veteran.
Yeah.
Because the talent is so young. Lloyd will just be, a COVID sophomore, and Barney will just, a second-year guy, and, Nelson's a second-year guy, and Keelan Smith won't have played, and Quinn Clark won't have played. I mean, they've got some talent. And a lot of it, but it's just not a ton of experience. So I could see maybe a couple of veteran wide receivers, considering they play 3 and 4 at a time, and then maybe an older secondary guy. They could get young at the corner spot in a hurry. So I think maybe a veteran defensive back to kind of steady that ship as well.
We've talked a lot about this extensively, just how important these bowl practices are to developing that young talent. So, okay, which group do you think is going to benefit the most, or you think it's going to grow the most here over these next few weeks with these bowl practices? Which young core?
I definitely think the secondary.
Yeah.
It's a young, competitive bunch. They've got some guys, a lot of guys that are right on the cusp of playing. They're going to have the opportunity to play. So I look for that secondary group to take a big jump. And then, I'll be curious to see what happens with some of the young offensive linemen, right? The guys that have kind of got their, the Sledges of the world, where they're going to get a lot more reps. And just to see how, if over time and experience and attention to detail, can that group kind of step up. Those are two groups that I think really could stand to gain the quickest from bowl prep. And then whomever's left in the defensive line room, right? I mean, those guys are young, and they'll still have a few of those core guys that will want to play, but that group's going to have to get ready in a hurry.
Well, how about spending a little Christmas in NYC in New York City?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I never try to look a gift horse in the mouth. You've been around me a ton, and I just try to be appreciative of the opportunities. And the last thing that I would do as somebody who's, alma mater hasn't been to a bowl game and was kind of the butt of a lot of trivia jokes, and I'm certainly not going to bemoan going to New York City. I just like the fact that it was extra practices. They can get in the weight room together. They wouldn't have been able to do that if they weren't going to a bowl practice. And I don't really care where they play. I'm just looking forward to the guys playing a meaningful game for the program in December. And you heard Coach Rule talk about, he should probably get used to that, right? Where there's going to be some transactions that happened in December and getting ready for bowl preparation and people wanting your players and coaches. And, I don't want to mistake activity for achievement, but I do think he's right in some degree, where if Nebraska's where they want to be in the next year or two, December will be a fairly busy month for this university.
You're a big baseball guy, though. How about playing a football game in Yankee Stadium?
Huge. And I wish I would have. I was actually with you when they were playing there in the World Series out of town. So, as a Dodgers fan. So I'm looking forward to it, and maybe if they'll let me, or you'll have to probably guide me or show me where to go. But I'm going to go stand out where a couple of balls left the ballpark just so I can reminisce and say, hey, you know what, this is as close as I got to the Dodger greatness of 2024.
We're going to try to keep you not from going to the Mets stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Juan Soto, it's like, the allure of $765 million, there's a good chance I wind up on the wrong subway.
Well, just overall, just your initial reactions. I know we'll dive into it a ton over the next few weeks, but Boston College, obviously from the ACC, 7-5, won 3 of their last 4. What do you know, early thoughts here of Boston College and that matchup for the Huskers?
Yeah, they're going to have their hands full with that defensive line, and we'll see. I mean, they got the nation's leading sack getter, and we'll see if he plays, right? He's a day 1, day 2 guy, but he leads the country with 16.5 sacks, so that's a bit of a cause for concern. But I think offensively, they don't beat themselves, right? 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions via the air, and it's a steady ground game too. So they're not going to give you a ton of gifts, even though it's the holiday season. So Nebraska's going to have to earn their keep.
Well, how about us jumping on an airplane on the 23rd then to get to New York City? Those airplanes, they're a pretty solid means of transportation.
Yeah. Hey, it's good. I got my geography lesson. I got a history lesson in aeronautics. And what else did Coach Holgerson remind me of? It was, it's 2 hours to the south, 2 hours to the north, 2 hours to the east, and 2 hours to the west. So I'm glad I've heard of airplanes.
Oh, great stuff, DB. Appreciate it. I'm sure we'll chat with you much more here coming up as we prepare for the Huskers kicking off in the Pinstripe Bowl against Boston College coming up on December 28th. Thanks, DB.
Anytime. Have a great rest of the show.
All right. Thank you. DB joining us on our Sports Nightly Hotline, presented by Woodhouse. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. We're back to hear from Kelly Hunter coming up right after this.
We're sharing more love than ever before during the 2024 Subaru Share the Love event. By the end of this year, Subaru and its retailers like Duto Subaru will have donated nearly $320 million to charities like the ASPCA, Make-A-Wish, Meals on Wheels America, and the National Park Foundation. Duto Subaru is proud to support the Capital Humane Society during the Subaru Share the Love event. Visit Duto Subaru at 27th Street and Jamie Lane in Lincoln or at dutosubaru.com.
Set, hike. When champions take the field, they come ready to play. TNL Irrigation understands the value of momentum. Like a Husker drive, there's no stopping. If you live for farming and football like we do, TNL Irrigation has you covered. Check your fields from the game with a remote system, or just enjoy the play knowing our systems are reliable as a sold-out Memorial Stadium. Touchdown! Nebraska born, Nebraska strong. Husker Nation and TNL Irrigation are like no other.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
This postseason, the Nebraska Cornhuskers are ready to make a run for the championship, and Woodhouse is right there with them. Follow along as the Huskers take on the best in the NCAA volleyball tournament. Hear every thrilling moment, every powerful serve, and every block for the title. Woodhouse, proud sponsor of Nebraska Volleyball, bringing you all the action as the Huskers fight for glory. Stay tuned and cheer on the Huskers each broadcast, presented by Woodhouse.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus, copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
No matter what color you wear on game day or what color tractor you drive, there's one color Nebraskans trust to be a partner for life lived well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska combines national power with Nebraska roots. Awarded the best health insurance experience in the heartland, Blue Cross delivers affordable, high-quality health plans for Medicare groups and individuals. Head to nebraskablue.com to find the coverage that's right for you. Team Blue says, go Big Red.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Sam, since this is your first Get Holiday Ready sales event, let me introduce you to the full lineup of Ford SUVs. Keep it festive, Morgan.
How fun!
That's Blake and Bailey. They're our Bronco experts.
Goat modes goes over any type of terrain.
And of course, Ford F-Series. Best-selling trucks for 47 years. The Get Holiday Ready sales event.
Chills.
Get 1.9 for 60 plus 1,000 holiday cash plus no payments for up to 90 days on F-150. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. Appreciate DB stopping by. Greg Sharpe has the night off tonight, planning on being back here with us tomorrow night. Did want to talk some Husker volleyball here in hour number 2 as well, because Huskers are right back in the Sweet 16. Just impressive the amount of Sweet 16s that this team has been to, but what a dominating first round win over Florida A&M. I had to double check because I was watching the USC Texas game, and then I tuned in a little bit late, and I was like, is that graphic wrong? 25-3. The 3 points are the fewest points the Huskers have ever allowed in a set since the NCAA switched to rallying scoring beginning in the 2001 season. Also, Florida A&M scored 29 points in the match, the fewest points a Husker opponent has ever scored in the rally scoring era. So just a dominant start with a sweep over Florida A&M, and then sweep Miami, a really, really good Miami team that had knocked off a couple of really good programs throughout the course of the season as well. So back at it again this Friday night. They'll face Dayton in the Sweet 16, or the third round of the NCAA tournament, and will play 30 minutes prior to the Wisconsin and Texas A&M matchup, which is set to start at 6 o'clock. I did get a chance to sit down with Kelly Hunter today to record this week's episode of The Dig. Wanted to bring you a portion of that conversation here tonight. Kelly, congratulations. Another Sweet 16 ticket punch for this program. JB was breaking down the numbers. It's remarkable how many times this team has been here, but you don't want to take it for granted, right?
Right. Thank you. I think at Nebraska, it's kind of the expectation, but our group has been really good just every single day talking about how thankful they are to be in the tournament and to get to play in Devaney again. That's really special, especially for the seniors, so they're very grateful.
How did you guys like the way that the girls came out ready to roll, in this new season, starting off with the 2 wins in the tournament?
They actually highlighted that it was a new season and that whatever we did in the Big Ten and in the preseason is done and it's over, and now we have to do we have to look forward to what's ahead of us, and they did a really good job of even highlighting that and talking about it. But I think the first round of the tournament, first and second round, is always really exciting, and teams are fired up to play. They're excited to come to Devaney and play Nebraska, and so people get up really high to come to our gym, and I think the teams did a really good job, but the Huskers are really, really focused.
Well, let's talk the first one. What a dominating performance. How was the team able to, 3 points, and I think it was the lowest point total in the rally scoring era. How was this team able to get out to that hot of a start where they were just not giving up any points?
I think their focus, like I said, was really, really good. And our kind of theme right now is controlling the controllables. So we can control our service pressure, our effort on defense, if we're in our right positions and staying really focused. So that was kind of our theme, even from our first practice after the selection show, was just controlling the controllables. And because there's a lot in the tournament that you never know what's going to happen. You never know where you're going to go and all of those things. But for us, we were lucky to get to be at home 2 weekends in a row. But I think they did a really good job of just coming out strong, staying focused, and never dipping down.
And then, again, a quick turnaround with the back-to-back against Miami. How'd you guys like the way that they handled just the preparing for Miami? And we were seeing a lot of upsets and a lot of kind of tight matches throughout this first weekend of the NCAA tournament. Seemed like they came in focused once again in round number 2.
Yeah, I think the second round across the board, like you said, was really tough for a lot of people, and like you said, some upsets. But I think we did a good job preparing early on in the week of who we might play on Saturday, assuming we win on Friday. And that's hard to prepare for essentially 3 teams in a weekend. But we kind of had some concepts here and there that we talked about on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Put those aside on Thursday to get ready for Florida A&M, and then kind of just revisit those. So there wasn't anything really new that they weren't totally expecting, but I think Jalen does such a good job with our scouting report. It's detailed but not overloading, and so there's just some key points here and there. But they were a good team. We knew that they were going to have high energy and be very emotional, and when they're up, and when they're down, they're down. So the biggest thing that we wanted to focus on was just staying consistent and being ourselves and kind of wearing at that emotional match.
Last week, after the final weekend of the Big Ten, when we had Lindsay on, she had mentioned about, maybe some things were exposed by Penn State and over the weekend. And you guys were still focusing on getting better last week. Did that translate over the weekend, some of the things you guys wanted to focus on last week in preparation leading into the first weekend of the tournament?
I would say so. I think one of the biggest things that we kind of found out at Penn State, nothing new, but like Merritt just didn't have a great match, and that's not like her to not have a great match, but the good thing about our team is that we have so many different attackers at every position that we don't need all 5 or 6 of them to have their best match of their life every single night. They can balance each other out, and we saw our middles step up in that case at Penn State. But that was definitely a point of emphasis for us, was just confidence, repping out some kind of relationship stuff with Bergen and Merritt, and Merritt had a great weekend, and I think that work had really, really paid off.
When that happens, because it's like, again, I think from the outside looking in, you're like, well, they've been playing together all season. Why is there maybe some issues now? How do you guys address that? Why is that maybe a case at this point of the season?
I think it's just honestly normal for players to ebb and flow, and it's even with confidence too. Like, that comes and it goes, and you can sit there and say, well, why are they not confident? They won the Big Ten or whatever. But what we do is really, really difficult. And our standards at practice and our drills and even the situations that we put the players in, it's really difficult. And so we design it that way so that games are easier and that you can be a little bit more free and just go out there and not think and play. But I think confidence and just pressure and all those things are always changing. And as the stakes go up, some of that self-talk, that self-doubt can kind of creep in, and we're just really focused on, you can acknowledge that, but we're going to fill that with I am statements, or I will do this, or just who are you going to talk to when you're struggling. And I think I've always said the teams with the best intangibles at the end of the year are usually the ones that win. And obviously you have to be a great volleyball team, and I think we are. So we're just really focusing on those intangible things.
So one thing I saw on social media, some TikToks, the players from the opposing teams are really, really excited to play here in Devaney. And I think, again, I don't want to say we all take it for granted, but even opposing teams, when they're playing in the tournament, some of them were like, this is their destination, and probably they're going to come here and not have much success in terms of moving on, just because that's kind of what Nebraska does. But how special is that for you as a part of this program to realize, okay, from the outside, like, this is one of the places that teams want to come to because it is that special of an environment to play volleyball in?
I think I'm almost a little bit spoiled, having always been at Nebraska, and so I think what you say about not taking it for granted is huge, and just seeing the way other teams get so excited and to come to our gym, which I think is the best gym in the whole United States and maybe even in the whole world at times. And so I think it's really cool for these teams to get so excited, and especially South Dakota, who's so close, and they filled up like 3 whole sections with their family and friends, and it probably felt like a home match for them. So I think they were really excited to get back here, and I know some of them are from here and they're from really close, but I think teams just kind of know Nebraska, playing Nebraska and being in our gym is, you're kind of a part of history and records and just stuff like that, and it's really cool to see these other teams get really excited about it too.
It's still probably something for some teams, even though they might come in here and not advance, but it's still something that for the rest of their lives they can talk about playing in, and I think we just have it as Nebraska, as fans of Nebraska, that, hey, we're moving on. But I think for some teams it's like, okay, this is still a memory that I will carry with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one of the coolest things, too, I think, is when our fans are always there for that first match. Not all of them, but a bunch of people are still there, and you'll see them cheering and getting excited, and they're still into the match. So it feels like a really cool environment for those guys.
Okay, another fun storyline, funny storyline last week was Coach Cook in his press conference talked about how Olivia Malk's serve was wimpy, and then he tried to pass it and did not look very coordinated passing it. What was your take on that when you heard that? He called it wimpy.
Well, I saw the press conference. Of course, it was just funny, and everyone's like, wimpy, and Olivia's like, hey now, like, she's just so funny, and she totally embraces it. But I didn't know that they were going to recreate and like actually have Olivia serve until we were done with serve and pass, and I'm usually one of the last ones out, and I see them all lining up. I'm like, oh, we're actually doing this. But it's funny because Coach was just talking about it again this morning, and he was like, we were watching the match, him, Jalen, and I, we were just watching, and he was talking, okay, did you guys see the TikTok? And we're like, yeah, we were there in person too. But yeah, we saw it. He was like, that thing, it was coming right at me, and then all of a sudden, boom, and it just goes to the side, and I couldn't even hardly touch it. Like, he fully embraced it, and I don't think he's taking it very humbly and going along with it really good.
So how would you evaluate his ability to pass, then live serve?
I saw some crossing of the feet a little bit, and I know we talk a lot about wide base and things like that, so maybe some technical things he could adjust for next time.
Great stuff always from Kelly Hunter. Always enjoyed chatting with her. You can listen to that full episode of The Dig. It is out now on our podcast platforms and our YouTube channel as well. The Dig is powered by Emeritus. Emeritus is proud to power The Dig and all of Husker women's sports. We also get into Bergen Riley and her preparation for the NCAA tournament and how it's different this year now that she's got a year under her belt. Lots of great stuff from Kelly. Also looking ahead to this weekend, prep for Dayton and potentially Wisconsin. So lots of good stuff there. You can check it out now again on our podcast platforms and our YouTube channel as well. All right, we got to work in another break here on Sports Nightly. Coming up next, we're going to continue talking volleyball, and I had a chance to catch up with Kennedy Orr after the Huskers win on Saturday night. So keep it here on Sports Nightly.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Husker fans, this is Coach Hoiberg thanking you for supporting our program. Your passion and presence have created one of the best home court advantages in college basketball. Additionally, thank you for supporting your Husker student athletes through contributions to 1890 Nebraska, the official NIL collective of Husker Athletics. 100% of your contributions to 1890 go to Husker athletes, positively affecting their lives in so many ways. So visit 1890nebraska.com or text NEB-NIL to 801-801 today and go Big Red.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Hello, Husker Nation. This is Lex Rodriguez, All-American Libero, serving you an ace on behalf of Noddle Companies based in Omaha, Nebraska. Noddle Companies is a full-service leader in commercial real estate, digging deep to create thriving communities like the Builders District, Exarban Village, and the contemporary row house townhomes. They bring world-class concepts in fashion, great eats, gorgeous homes, and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. To dig up more information, find them on Facebook and Instagram. Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska.
Looking for the ultimate sports watching experience? Head to Smash Park in La Vista, home of Husker Hangouts, Omaha's official watch parties. Your go-to spot for epic game day deals, delicious bites, and unbeatable fun. Catch every moment on massive screens. Challenge friends to pickleball, axe throwing, and other games. Smash Park is where the action happens, whether you're cheering on the Huskers or just enjoying the atmosphere. Smash Park. Visit us today and turn your game day into a game night. Smash Park. Play, drink, eat.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. All right, following the win over Miami, I had a chance to catch up with one of the seniors that are going through this NCAA tournament thing for the final time, trying to embrace every moment. I had a chance to catch up with Kennedy Orr. Here is my conversation with her. Well, the Huskers advancing to another Sweet 16. I'm Jessica Coody here with Kennedy Orr. Well, another advancing for you guys. How does it feel?
It feels really good. I'm super proud. I mean, every single game in the tournament, it's just an honor to be a part of, and we've worked so hard for the end of the season just to keep inching forward and get win by win. So every win is, it's amazing.
Back-to-back sweeps to start this thing out. How fired up were you guys to get to this new season?
Yeah, I mean, it's something you talk about for 11 months out of the year, and it's something that you're working towards all year. I think going into this tournament that we really wanted to be fired up and focused the whole time and try not to be super distracted by outside forces and things, so yeah.
How about the way this team handled just, again, the back-to-back preparing for two different teams? It's what you got to do, right, to advance. You guys have done it all year long. It's an experienced team, but for this first weekend, how did you like the way this team handled the preparation?
Yeah, I thought we did a great job. Our coaches are always super, know what to do, when to do it about our scouts, and it's really helpful. They know what each player needs, and I think that's really great. But then at the same time, it's just about maximum effort, and it's not always what you're going to see on the scouts. So,
well, in this one against Miami, how important was the block? How good was the block for you guys?
The block was so good tonight. Our middles always do a great job, and I think that our pins just put them in really good places tonight. So it's always fun to see, and Nebraska defense is so important. So.
How about the way that Merritt Meeson was able to get going tonight?
Yeah, I mean, Merb, what's great about her is she's so consistent. She's our rock, and she's always going to carry us through games. And just every game, I think we're really grateful to have someone like that and someone who can really turn it on every time that she needs to. So.
For you and the role that you've taken on, how much pride do you take in that and be able to provide that spark and be a game changer off the bench?
I do take a lot of pride in it. I think that serving something that we talk about every day, Coach calls it the most important thing. So going in, I just want to be super motivated and pretty fearless when I go in and serve. And yeah, that's my goal every time.
Hey, Kelly was saying, though, you could maybe even consider yourself part of that back row trio with the way you're playing defense, too. How much pride do you take in that part of it and being able to be able to pass well, too?
Yeah, I think defense is a really big thing, and on our team, that's just a lot of grind. It's the effort that you give. I've always loved defense. I think it's a great part of the game, and tonight I even got to play a little bit of middle back. I missed the dig, but that's okay. But, yeah, I think defense is fun, and it's what makes games exciting.
You know, this team obviously had a special run last year. It's so different, though. I know you not looking back at last year, but how different does it feel, though, being that you've had that experience, this team has had that experience, and everybody kind of knows what to expect with each time you step on the court here in the postseason?
Yeah, I think it's a little interesting because last year we were trying to kind of push off the pressure of being this young team, and this year we have a little bit more experience and kind of know what to look forward to and know what we want to do. We want to take each game point by point and just see where that gets us throughout the tournament instead of looking too far ahead. So I think that's helpful.
Yeah, there's so much talent in this postseason, and there's been some great battles across the country. That mindset, how important is it to be ready no matter who you're facing across the net, just because on any given night you're going to get somebody's best?
Yeah, I think going into each game with the mindset that the other team can beat you, and especially this year we know we're capable of losing, and I think that's really important to go into each game. And now with there being five seniors, each game can be our last, and that might be a thought that goes through our brain, but I don't think we're trying to think about that. So going into each game, every game's new, and we just got to go for it and trust our training.
The crowd here in the Bob, I know you guys always love playing in front of Husker Nation, but this weekend and then next weekend, how important for what you guys want to do to maybe get back to the Final Four? How important is this crowd and the way they fuel you guys behind you?
Yeah, it's big time, just like Coach said. I mean, the crowd can carry us through games, and I've seen it so many times in the past where it's big point after big point. They're just carrying us through the fifth set, and it's pretty cool to see. Yeah, so I think Husker Nation just means so much to us, and it's not just the noise. It's the fact that we feel so much support, especially outside of the gym, too. So I'm excited to see how they can bring it this next weekend.
That's great. This team's handled everything, every step along the way so well. How do you guys close the chapter on this one and focus on next week? And I know you guys are constantly trying to get better, so how do you guys get better going into next weekend?
Yeah, exactly. I think what's great about Nebraska volleyball is when we get to our third season, tournament season, we don't just try to use everything that we used preseason and Big Ten. We're still trying to get better. So I think just going into the gym with a fresh new mindset, knowing that teams we play this weekend are going to come to this gym and try to beat us is what we're really trying to do. So.
You'd mentioned just the seniors, and you never know the last time. How much are you trying to enjoy this last ride with your fellow seniors and this team?
Yeah, as much as possible. I would say just trying to stay in the moment. Our team is so good about creating connections and relationships, and that's kind of the bittersweet part. But at the same time, it feels so good to be able to play like your last couple games with the best teammates and girls in the world. So it's exciting, I would say.
Awesome. Great stuff. Congrats on the win.
Awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate Kennedy Orr chatting with me following the Huskers win over Miami. We had a text on the text line, a question from Carol. Said, what is the NCAA's reason for not allowing head coach interviews on the radio after an NCAA volleyball match? JB said it goes back a long ways, yet the Huskers head coach is allowed interviews on the YouTube press stream after a match. What's the deal? Strange policy by the NCAA. So this is a policy that stretches across pretty much every sport. We have the same issue in basketball as well in postseason, both with, I think, conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament. They have the policy where the head coach goes immediately to the press conference, whereas in the regular season, Coach Cook will go to radio first and then go to the press conference. And so we are not on the air, I don't think, long enough to make it that long. But also, I think the NCAA wants exclusivity on the head coach interviews. So that's why we send assistants in the postseason. But again, that's beyond just that's an NCAA policy, I believe, in all postseason in all sports. We have done this with basketball as well, where we have assistant coaches join us on the post-game show with both men's and women's basketball. So it's just it's been in place for a long time, for as long as I can remember. So we've done this every year where the assistant coaches will join us on the postseason. So it's they're allowed to stream it because that's the NCAA press conference that we're streaming on the YouTube channel. So that's kind of part of that policy is we're not ever, and I don't know if everywhere or every sport we're allowed to stream, but I know with volleyball, of course, we are allowed to stream, but that's part of that NCAA obligation that they have to go to that post game press conference. So yeah, it stinks, but we're fortunate to have great assistant coaches that are able to join us and hop on and break down the matches as well. All right, we got to get to a break, but we are back to wrap up the final segment here of hour number 2 with our weekend winners and Russ participating here today. So keep it here on Sports Nightly.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the propane tank on your grill first, before hosting a tailgate.
Let's fire up. Here, let me try. Seriously? You didn't check the propane? Who wants chips?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Salt and vinegar?
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You're gonna feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
If you've been looking for a reason to fill up your car with unleaded 88, how about this? Unleaded 88
can help you save big at the pump.
And save the planet by cutting greenhouse gas emissions.
Any car 2001 or newer is approved to use unleaded 88. Speaking of good, it's made from corn, which is great for farmers.
As I was saying, if you need a reason to choose unleaded 88, there you have them. Unleaded 88. Engine smart, earth kind. Visit chooseunleaded88.com to learn more.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Woodhouse is proud to be the broadcast sponsor for the Pinstripe Bowl on December 28th. Tune in starting at 7 a.m. for pregame coverage with kickoff at 11. Don't miss a moment. Brought to you by Woodhouse. On that note, Jim in Columbus put in a text for us. He said, I think going to the Pinstripe Bowl is a new beginning. I remember back in the 50s and 60s when we were losing and finally got a coach named Bob Devaney. He took his team to New York for a bowl game, and things started from there. I think this will be a new start for Nebraska, starting with Rule. I agree. Hey, we just needed this program to get back to a bowl game. As DB was saying earlier, they're back in the bowl game. Go get a win. We heard Coach Holgerson, Coach Rule talking about that last week on the signing day show, just how important this time is to get a win, to go into the offseason. And so big opportunity. We're just glad to be talking bowl season for this football program. It's been way too long. All right, we like to close out the show on Mondays with our weekend winners. We don't have any interns here today. It's just me and Ross, but Ross is going to participate. So Russ has got a weekend winner. Who you got, Russ?
All right, this one a little strange because technically they didn't win, but I'm going to go with the SMU Mustangs. They lost the ACC title game to Clemson, but were still able to make the field of 12 in the college football playoff, and I'm just glad the committee did not penalize a team for losing their conference title game.
I am with you 1,000%. That was a debate on the YouTube chat earlier today as well. I know it was one of the hot topics surrounding the selection of the playoff field. I thought SMU deserved to be in over Alabama. SMU hadn't lost since September 6th. They take care of business. They shouldn't have been penalized for losing to a Clemson team the way that they did. And Bama got beat pretty bad by an Oklahoma team and Vanderbilt, an Oklahoma team that hasn't been very good this year, and a Vanderbilt team. And I thought that I absolutely agree. And I also too have a little bit of a thing against the SEC. So I didn't want another SEC team in there, that's for sure. So I like it. I am going with Husker Nation, Husker football. Emmett Johnson deciding to return. He had put his name in the transfer portal at the end of last week and decides to come back. He put out a great video just talking about how the first time he came here, he knew it was home. And he wanted to still be here, be a part of it. I think that's a big win for him, or for this program. Just getting someone like Emmett back, just not only what he did on the football field and how we saw him really come along over those last few games. I think he's a great fit for Dana Holgerson and this offense, the way he can catch the football, but he's a great person, a great human being that I think just is a great representative of this program. So we have talked a lot about that between Damon and Greg and myself and Jeremiah Searles. We are all huge fans of Emmett Johnson. It's part of where we're at with the transfer portal. You lose guys that you don't want to lose, that you think are great human beings you build these relationships with, but I'm certainly glad that we do not have to lose Emmett Johnson, that we're going to get to still see him in a Husker uniform. So that was great news for the Huskers, for Husker football, coming out last night, that Emmett has decided to stick around and be a Husker. So I personally very, very excited about that. I know Greg was too. We were texting about it. So big news there. All right. That is going to do it for us here on Sports Nightly. Appreciate Ernie Ziegler for joining us, Damon Benning as well. Check out the full episode of The Dig with Kelly Hunter and Greg Sharpe, planning to be back tomorrow night with us here in hour number 2. Hour number 1, we will have our Nebraska women's basketball show as head coach Amy Williams will be here with us. Big win for Nebraska women's basketball. First Big Ten win yesterday against Minnesota. They looked great yesterday. So we will break down all of that and talk Husker women's basketball with Amy Williams coming up in hour number 1 tomorrow night. And then hour number 2 will be another hour of Sports Nightly. I'm sure we'll talk lots more football. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow night here on Sports Nightly.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Welcome to the Make It Jingle with Kris Kringle podcast. Today we're talking to Jan from Toyota, all about Toyotathon.
Hi!
So, tell me about Toyotathon.
Well, from now until January 6th is the perfect time to get a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, and more.
Oh, how exciting! So what can you do in a new Toyota this holiday season?
With a new RAV4, you can go snowboarding with your friends.
I love dashing through the snow.
Take a Camry to a tree lighting ceremony.
Sounds merry and bright.
Or even load up the family in a Highlander to go ice skating.
What a jolly good time. So, Jan, got any red Tacomas? After my big job, I'm taking the missus down to Florida to go surfing.
Florida? I'm there.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 6th. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota. Let's go places.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers, Corin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, or Baxter Toyota of La Vista.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
From family road trips in a spacious SUV to heavy-duty hauling in a powerful truck, Woodhouse has the vehicle to fit your lifestyle. Purchasing a vehicle has never been easier thanks to our streamlined buying process. Browse a huge selection of new or pre-owned vehicles from top brands. View transparent pricing so you can find the vehicle that fits in your budget. And complete your purchase online. Shop when you want, where you want. It's the Woodhouse difference. Get started today at woodhouse.com.